Well, good morning. We will officially start the meeting right now. My name is Bobby Spiegel, and I'm the President and CEO for the Corona Chamber of Commerce. I'm extremely pleased and proud to be able to have this program running. We started this because of the COVID outbreak and to do something to communicate with our members and be able to provide them pertinent information, timely information. And COVID is still very active out in the communities. You've seen an upbeat in the different testing and the different numbers that have been impacted, and our governor just recently changed some ruling and has closed down some additional businesses. We will continue to have small updates on COVID, but we are being focused into typical business and being reopened. And today's topic, of course, will be our school district and how they plan to do the reopening. We have lots of businesses that rely on the educational component. Their employees or even their own children are enrolled in the schools, and they need to know how they can provide what's going to happen as far as, is it going to be full day classes? Is it going to be part days? Is, just what the element is. And Dr. Sam will be sharing with us in just a little bit on that. But today I am very pleased and honored to share that we do have a jam-packed agenda, and today would not be possible without our sponsors. And we want to give a big shout out to the Corona History Association, which was established in 2015. They are our sponsor for today's event, and typically our chairman of the board, Don Williamson, he's the founder of this organization, and he would normally be on the call, but he had some personal items to take care of today, and he was unable to attend. But I love the organization. I happen to serve on the board of directors of this fine History Association, and some of the things that they have done is just mind-boggling. If you have not picked up your Corona, the business guide, you definitely want to look through it, and you will see in there one of the most highlighted things that we've done as the association is renaming the stadium at Corona High School in honor and memory of Jess Hill. I'm not going to take too much time on it, but I just wanted to share with you how much we're proud to have Corona History Association be our sponsor. If you would like information on sponsoring an event like today, please contact me. I'm Bobby Spiegel. My email is bobby, B-O-B-B-Y, @mychamber.org. If you can look at the chat slide that's on the screen at this time, if you do have a question, please take the time to enter the question. And again, Linda Richards from the Corona Chamber will be able to ask the speaker the question at the appropriate time. We are the Corona Chamber, and we continue to be your resource for prosperity through meetings just like today with the Zoom meeting. We want to bring pertinent information. We've asked our experience of speakers to present to us, and our advocacy outreach has been a tremendous asset for the business community. During the last 3 months, as I've shared, that we have started these Zoom calls, they have just grown, and it's been a great resource. So we are going to be transitioning this to our advocacy outreach, as I shared, where it is more of a business focus. And today is the beginning of that, even though our topic is the school district, and we have some residences on today, which is more than appropriate for them to hear firsthand of what is going on. But again, our focus will be towards our business community and wanting to make sure that we offer them as much information as possible. Our advocacy outreach is our Legislative Action Committee, and that is chaired by Anthony Edwards. He is a board member. He is with Robertson's Ready Mix. Anthony, I'd love for you to introduce our first presenter.
Thank you, Bobby. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining on the call. It means a lot to myself, and also for who I'm about to bring on is Jeff, who's doing a lot of really good things and incredibly knowledgeable of the things that he does. So Jeff, if you're on, I don't know if you can hear me, but if you're on, then the stage is yours.
Jeff Gibson. Give us just a second here. Let's see where he is on things. So Anthony, you did a great job. I'm going to skip. Jeff, can you hear me? Okay, I'm going to skip. Okay, there you are. Go ahead and speak up a little louder if you would.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Jeff. How are you?
Good, you're in an echo of some kind, so I don't know if there's a air conditioning fan or something running, but
I'm in an echo,
yeah, it's echoing.
and did I apologize. Did it start when I was here?
Yes, you're good now.
Okay. All right. So, starting today, we have a couple of things that we are focusing on. One, the tax initiative. In the state of California, typically we are used to an announcement that that a ballot initiative has qualified for the ballot, and that pretty much is what we're going to see on the ballot. That has changed in recent years, and the governor is allowed, and the state legislature is allowed to negotiate over ballot measures once they are with the proponent, with the person that got the measure qualified. So the split roll initiative and several other initiatives that are looking at raising taxes bluntly on employers, pretty specifically, are still under negotiation. The governor has until August 7th in which to set the ballot, and so we are monitoring those. Currently, there will be a split roll property tax initiative in which commercial property is taxed at a different on a different assessment schedule than real property, and that also includes apartment complexes that have shops in them. That also includes agricultural land that has improvements on it, and that also includes land that any of us on this call may own that is zoned for commercial. So if you bought a piece of raw land that was zoned for commercial, you are under threat of having that reassessed every 3 to 5 years for the base value based upon what is known as community value. So if Bobby owns the property next to mine and he sells and I don't, then my value is based upon what he sold his property at. That's what community value is. So not that I don't wish Bobby to sell his property at the very best price he can reach, but that's where we are. Then looking at, so we will keep you updated because the bottom line is about $18 billion in potential taxes to commercial real estate companies. And since a number of people on this call and in Corona rent based upon triple net, then the property tax gets passed on immediately to the employers. So it's bipartisan in opposition to many of the approaches. So it's something that we're tracking very closely. Emergency family leave. We've talked about AB 3216, and AB 3216 has continued to pass. There are a number of other bills that have very similar language. The way the state legislature is working during the pandemic emergency is generally by this point in the process, what you would have are bills of similar nature, and I'm talking very, very similar. So you might have a Senate version of a bill and an Assembly version of a bill, or to use Bobby and I again as examples, I may have introduced a bill that makes red the official color of the state of California, and Bobby introduces a version of the bill that makes brick red the official color of the state of California. And by this point in the legislative session, there would be one bill on what would be the official color of the state of California. Because of the emergency, the legislature has decided not to do that. So there are a number of bills now that deal with the emergency family leave issue. All of them come back to 12 weeks of emergency family leave at the decision of the employee, not the employer, and largely constrain the ability of the employer to verify that, yes, this is a necessary need of the employee. And many of the bills and proposals have a strict limit on the amount of time that the job has to be left open for the qualifying employee, usually up to a year. So if an employee decides to take emergency family leave after 30 days of employment, the employer is, one, on the hook for 12 weeks worth of pay. Two, would have to keep the position open for up to a year. Those bills are continuing to move through the process. We're working with a very large coalition of employers that are very sympathetic and already live under the very generous rules of the family leave rules in the state of California, and we aren't disputing any of those. What we are disputing is that you could hire someone, they could work for you for 30 days, and on the 31st day announce, and that's a calendar. So if you have a brand new employee, they may have only worked 8 to 10 shifts by that point, and then come and said, no, we need full-time emergency family leave, and you would be on the hook for full-time pay to that employee for 12 weeks. So you can see the difficulty in arranging that. The third thing that we're discussing is AB 235. It's a regulatory reform bill of the California Environmental Quality Act, and specifically the California Endangered Species Act. Last week we spoke, we've spoken before about an upcoming ruling on Joshua trees in the Riverside and San Bernardino desert. And so that affects us directly because the state of California is requiring Corona and all other cities' employers to be carbon neutral in their energy use by 2040. The only way that that can happen is with a entirely renewable electric grid. Most of those lines are going to come across the Mojave Desert. The Joshua tree, as found by the California Endangered Species Act, is not threatened, but it is considered for an endangered listing because of California climate change. The big issue for us, specifically as employers, is that no species has ever been declared endangered without a specific ongoing contemporary threat. You can think back to the bald eagle or the alligator, two very successful endangered species listings where the animal went on the endangered species list because there was an immediate threat either to their habitat or otherwise, and they recovered and they were taken off the list. In this case, there is no immediate threat to the Joshua tree. The threat would be based upon climate change over the next 100 years. And at some point during that 100 years, it may become endangered. If this is allowed to stand as precedent, expect a lot more listings, because now we're into the area of theory, and not to get into the theory of whether or not climate change is going to be happening, but we're now into the theory of that there are specific threats coming out of climate change. And so that is a major, major leap that wasn't considered in the act. AB 235 requires a much higher standard for listing of endangered species, essentially by having an additional several steps of study before the listing goes on to prove that there is a contemporary threat. And that's why I'm urging a support of that bill, and would be happy to have discussion here. There was a question on tax credits. All tax credits in the state of California as of July 1st, as of this morning, are ended. There is no manufacturer's tax credit. There is no film credit. There is all of those credits as part of the July 1st budget deal have been relieved and will not be. So if you are in a multi-year tax credit arrangement with the state of California, unfortunately, you cannot claim in future years for any tax credits whatsoever. The state has removed them for the next 2 years. At the very least, we'll review them one by one as if they were all brand new in the 2023 budget year, and they cannot be restarted by the state of California until 2024, 2025 at the earliest, according to the budget negotiations that were completed on July 1st. So that is going to be a major thing, as you're seeing. We've already seen Tesla and SpaceX announced that because the state was removing those tax credits for which attracted over $4 billion worth of their investment, that they're leaving the state of California. And that's no small item. I know it seems like it's just 2 employers, but in those 2 specific cases, that was up to 10% of the future growth of industry and manufacturing in the county of Los Angeles. So that is a SpaceX and Tesla leaving California are much more news than Toyota, because they weren't manufacturing here; they were doing design and administrative work. So Toyota leaving 2 years ago was a blow. Tesla and SpaceX leaving is going to be felt across the state. So, in any case, I would like to move support for the AB 235. We have a legislative platform that supports common sense reforms of the California Environmental Quality Act, which is known as CEQA, and we're at least trying to make listing an endangered species as difficult as getting a business permit in the state of California. So,
Absolutely.
So in any case.
So Jeff has put that on the table. I know that I believe Mike Ryan is on that is part of this, as well as Kim Maybon. We're looking for a motion in a second, if we could.
I'll give a first motion.
Thank you, Marty.
Mike Karashi can second.
Mike Karashi is a second. Is there any questions or discussion at this point in time?
Bobby, there was a question. Is there a tax credit or something for small businesses for family leave?
So
Yep.
I believe Jeff answered that, but go ahead, Jeff.
Yes. Yeah. No, there unfortunately are no tax credits. So the state of California announced, in fact, the governor announced when he signed the budget that the state of California is out of the tax credit business permanently. And that's almost a direct quote.
And so we're going to hold any other questions that are not part of the motion. The motion is specific to the AB 235 regulatory reform bill to support that. All those in favor signify by saying aye or waving your hand or doing something. I would like anyone that is opposed to it to unmute themselves and speak their name so that we know. Okay, so it does pass. Thank you. Linda, are there any other questions for Jeff Gibson?
No other questions.
Awesome. Jeff, thank you so much for taking time to be on our calls every single week. This is our advocacy outreach. This is what we do for small businesses, for large businesses, to keep the economy rolling here in the greater Corona area. And we just so appreciate the partnership with having you on our team to help us with this. I know that it's a full-time job with what California does on introducing so many different ideas and bills. So we appreciate your expertise in that manner. Our next,
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Jeff. Our next presenter is the mayor for the city of Corona. And this is Mr. Jim Steiner. Jim, please go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Bobby. As another reminder, the Riverside County COVID-19 Business Assistance Grant is open for round 2. Please continue to spread the word and help get these funds in the hands of local businesses. And Spanish applications are available as well. Let's see, I wanted to remind everybody that although the pandemic has created a challenging economic environment, Corona is seeing continued investment with over 2 million square feet of industrial development planned, 146,000 square feet of Class A office space, nearing completion, and an improved retail center at Bedford. I'm really excited to let everybody know that we have hired an economic development director. Her name's Jessica Gonzalez. She's in a committee meeting right now, but we look forward to introducing you to her or her to you. And she's got quite a bit of expertise. And this is a big deal. We've just doubled our economic development department. And Ryan Cortez has been a one-man show. He's been doing a fantastic job, but in a city of 170,000, it's not good enough, and neither is two. So I'm hoping we'll eventually be able to hire 2 or 3 more for that department and really have this powerful team of individuals working together to help bring businesses into town and keep them here. Let's see. Lastly, I just wanted to remind everybody to continue to take precautions and be safe. When you're out there in public, the virus still remains a threat to the community, and we're going to continue to see a rise in numbers countywide. So we're going to try to continue to navigate through this the best we can. So with that, I'll turn it over to our fire chief. I believe Brian Young is following me.
Hey, Chief, good morning.
Good morning. So thanks for having me on again. Little pivot today. We'll just be touching on the fireworks topic in the city of Corona. There's a lot of activity that's increased. I think it's, people are at home and they're still not going out to the same levels that they were. So it's actually increasing the use of fireworks in the city of Corona. And just to reinforce is all fireworks are illegal in the city of Corona, whether it's safe and sane or what are traditionally referred to as illegal, but all fireworks are illegal in the city of Corona. And I just wanted to reiterate to everybody, and I'm sure that this group understands this and really is following the direction. It's not really to mitigate or minimize people's ability to enjoy the 4th of July and have a good time. It's really due to the safety factors. We've already had several fires this year alone in the city of Corona that were the direct result of fireworks and the inappropriate use of it. I've received several calls every week over the last couple of weeks indicating that the use is greatly increased. People are reporting hearing it at all hours of the day and night now. And I just wanted to reinforce that the importance of not partaking in fireworks and really sharing that with your neighbors that might actually be involved with it. The Corona Police Department, as well as the Corona Fire Department, are actively engaged with high profile patrols, basically. We are responding as a joint response to reports of fireworks calls. And ultimately, this is, once again, to reinforce the safety issues of it, especially with the aerial fireworks. We've seen several wildland fires started as a result of these out in Eagle Canyon, as well as in trees. So the quicker that you can make those reports that those fireworks are going on, the quicker we can get out there and mitigate the problems. Our primary objective is not enforcement. It's really to stop the behavior. So if we can stop the behavior, we've accomplished our overall objective. In addition to just increased patrols from Corona Police Department and Corona Fire, from a code enforcement perspective, we're also, you're gonna see your Corona Fire engines out and about a lot more frequently the days leading up to the 4th, as well as on the 4th itself, just to be that positive reinforcement that we're out there and to minimize a lot of those fireworks use. So once again, a little pivot from what we've been dealing with over the past several weeks and months, but I just wanted to reinforce that as we go into the 4th. Thank you for all your continued support and have a safe 4th of July.
Thank you so much, Chief. Thank you, Mayor. Linda, is there any questions for Mayor Steiner or Chief Young?
No questions at this time.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen, and thank you for keeping our community safe, and hopefully our 4th of July activities will be resumed soon. Did want to put a little plug in for the Cars and Coffee event over at the IHOP this Saturday. If you're looking for something for fun, please go on over there at 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the morning. Thank you again, Mayor, and thank you, Chief Young. Next, I would like to introduce Rob Moran. He is with the County of Riverside. This is the go-to guy that I call constantly, and he has a complete update on various different things and programs that they're offering. Rob, please go ahead and take it away.
Good morning, Bobby, and thank you very much. You put me to work this morning, so I'm happy to be here. And I just wanted to share an update on a few different items. I get to share the free stuff today. First, if you could go to the, I don't know if you're going to put up the next slide. There you go. Free masks available. And I know you've heard Bobby mention this before, but the county does have free masks. We had 1 million at one point, and we are now down to approximately 400,000. But if you need masks for your businesses, or you know someone that needs them for their business, please reach out. Bobby and I have been communicating constantly about this and coordinating the pickup of the masks. And you do have the Bitly website down there. And as Bobby's mentioned many times, it is case sensitive, but we are happy to share those as a resource to the business community. And it's, of course, particularly important as we have the mask order in place. And so if we can help support businesses, by all means, please reach out. The next item is, and thank you to the mayor for mentioning, our round 2 of funding is now open for our $10,000 grants. And what's different in this round than in round 1, pretty much most of the requirements are the same, but 2 key areas. One, if you're a small business sole proprietorship that does not have employees above and beyond the ownership, you are eligible. And we've seen a significant uptick in activity in round 2 because of that. And then if you receive the SBA economic injury disaster loan or disaster loan EIDL, you are eligible. Unfortunately, you are not eligible if you did receive the PPP at this point in time. So I did want to share, please feel free to go to rivcobizhelp.org. I'll type that in the chat so everybody can see it, but that's our website. You can click to the application portal there. And if you have any questions, of course, you can feel free to reach out to me as well. And then lastly, I wanted to share an item that I really want to give Bobby a lot of credit for implementing this. And it's come out of our Economic Recovery Task Force. As many of you know, the Board of Supervisors created this task force a couple months ago to deal initially with COVID response and then ultimately moving into recovery in the longer term. And the task force kind of adopted this Safer Together, Greater Together pledge in order to help get through this whole COVID situation. Preventing the spread and infection, of course, is critically important, as we all know. But we can't do it alone with edicts coming from the county or the state or from public health. It really has to be, the proverbial we're all in this together. And so we're asking businesses that if they want to take advantage of this program, they essentially can, again, go to that website, and that website asks the business to essentially take a pledge that they're going to, perform a kind of a risk assessment related to their specific site, work with their employees to train them on how to prevent the spread, how to screen themselves, and identify different, protocols and distancing guidelines to keep them, their employees safe, their customers safe. And by doing that, you're going to get access to resources from the Corona Chamber of Commerce. And go to their, I'm on that website now. You can go there. It's real simple. You just put your name and company information in there. And then the Corona Chamber will give you access to, some tools and resources. And then you'll have a little logo that you can help promote yourself with. And so we're encouraging folks to join this effort. Again, it's kind of a part of this, we're all in this together effort. And so that is a great program. And thank you, Bobby, for helping promote that. And I did want to mention that the mayor said that they've hired Jessica as the new economic development director. I'm excited about that. I had a chance to work with her at the city of Anaheim on our CalEd board, which is the California Association for Local Economic Development. So Riverside County is well represented at the state level as well for legislative advocacy and economic development issues, with 3 of us, myself, Jessica, and Christine Damko from the city of Temecula. So I'm excited to be working with her. And of course, Ryan's always been a fantastic resource, and excited to see that team grow. So thank you, Bobby. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Rob. Hang on and let's just see if we have any questions. Linda, are there any questions that we have for Rob Moran?
No questions for Rob at this time.
Okay, okay. And Rob, I just want to make sure that all the PPP monies, I know that the federal government is doing some changing. Are we doing some stuff for, as they go forward, even though they've applied or they've received money, can you go through one more time just to explain briefly how that works?
Yeah, so if for our grant program, if a business has received the SBA EIDL loan, then they are eligible for the grant. If they've received the PPP, which is essentially a grant, they are not eligible at this time.
Excellent. Okay, thank you so much. Rob, I really appreciate all that you do for the county and for us on a regular basis.
My pleasure, Bobby. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. Next, I'd like to welcome Kathy Armstrong with Dude American Manufacturing. She will give an update a little bit on the project that I shared at the very beginning of our recording, as well as about our ELR program. Kathy Armstrong, please take it away.
Thank you for the introduction, Bobby. Hi, everybody. I'm a business owner here, proudly based in Corona. I'm also part of the ELR, or the Executive Leadership Roundtable class of 2020. And I just like to raise some awareness for this wonderful opportunity for the leaders in our Riverside County community that Chamber is providing. And they're now accepting applications for the 2020-2021 class. My experience is that this is a perfect balance between personal growth and what's given back to the community. And that's very important, at least to me, and I know to so many. I feel like the organizers have really done a superb job creating a well-rounded and a very well-balanced program. The program is nonstop action-packed from day one. They literally get you running and so much planned, and it makes it so exciting while there are so many opportunities to learn about your community, which is County of Riverside, as well as your classmates, and you get to do a lot of networking. And I just have so many favorite days that it's just hard to pick one, but you just get so much support, positive energy from the organizers. Obviously, Bobby, Linda, Danny, and they're just there, excuse me, every step of the way. And there's just, just so many people involved, making sure that you do have that experience, and everything has gone really smoothly, except when COVID hit, obviously. So I want to mention the other thing is that a lot of us leaders in the community are also involved with other with leadership programs, groups like Vistage. I'm a member of Vistage. There's Renaissance Executive Forum and so many other leadership groups. And if you're thinking that, I want to emphasize that ELR is not the same. Don't think that I'm already involved with a leadership group. ELR is redundant. That is not accurate. You get something completely different from the ELR program. So for example, one of the advantages is that it's not long-term. There's just, you have specific days, it's about less than a year, and it doesn't cost as much as some of the other programs that are for leaders. Also, ELR is more about your community. You get to really learn about and see so much that's not accessible to others during your visits. For example, at the City Hall, we got to meet the officials, we interacted with them. The Navy base was great, March Air Force, and some cool manufacturers in the area, and so much more that as just, a citizen in the county, you don't get to just walk into the March Air Force or walk into some of these places. And it's just, you just get a completely different perspective and respect of what these people do in your community. And it really takes a lot. So as I mentioned, there's also a sense of community where you get to pick a project with your classmates. And I'm just so proud that the class of 2020 decided to raise funds to coordinate the expansion of services provided to our active military who are deployed through the Bob Hope USO over at March Air Force. And as you can see the information on the slide. What we did, we helped upgrading not only the kitchen facility, but providing, we're working on providing Wi-Fi and other services. And we have so far collected close to $40,000. This morning we got an email, and that was really exciting. I mean, with everything going on, we still have so many people passionate about helping the military and our active duty, and giving them more than a PB&J, because they were just given PB&J. There was no refrigeration, no freezers available, and these funds really helped the that facility in making a lot of improvements. We are still collecting donations, so you can go to givebigcorona.com. It's on the screen. We would really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, you can always ask the Chamber of Commerce, and one of us will be happy to get back to you. So just to conclude, I really encourage you to consider joining the ELR program, or if you have any colleagues who would qualify. I can't stress enough how well the program is balanced between learning, growing, networking, and giving back. And you can find applications on the class of for the class of 2021 on the Chamber's website. So thank you so much. And Bobby, or any of my colleagues that are on this call, if you'd like to add anything that I might have missed, if we have a couple of more minutes, that would be great.
Kathy, thank you so much. You were so articulate, and I think you nailed everything. Linda, can you just see if there were any questions specific for Kathy or for the ELR program?
No questions at this time.
Awesome. Thank you, Linda. Kathy, thank you. And to all the ELR group, the participants that are on this call today, thank you for your commitment to serve a greater value of our community through the ELR program.
Thank you.
I did want to just cover a couple of slides real quick. I want to again say thank you to our sponsor today, is the Corona History Association. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor, we would welcome you to the dialogue. I can go through those details with you individually. And then next week, we do have our weekly update. And again, if you could just use that case-sensitive bit.ly, capital C, capital C, capital B, capital B, capital J for July, spelling it out, and then the day of the month. So it's Corona Chamber Business Briefing, July 8th is what that stands for. Linda, let's go ahead and go to the next slide, and I'm going to proudly introduce Dr. Sam Buenrostro, who serves on my board of directors. As well, his job is the Deputy Superintendent for the Corona-Norco Unified School District, probably the finest school district in all of Southern California and probably the entire state. I am a little bit biased, as 5 of my kids have gone through that, as well as my grandson at this time is enrolled. There is a tough situation with COVID, and the district is doing their due diligence. I know that they've got several different conflicting meetings right now going on, but Sam realizes the importance to be on this call and to share and answer questions for everyone. So I'm not going to go on. I could have a whole hour just to introduce him and the quality that he stands for and what he does for our district and for our community and the students. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Sam Buenrostro.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you for the nice words. Yeah, as you said it, we definitely have our challenges right now. And also thanks for mentioning about the district. And yeah, your children have gone through it. So have many others that are on this call. And some of you also have your children right now. My children also were raised, and now they're out of the system. And I say that because we really do take a lot of pride in what we do, and we're invested in the community. And we're in the middle, as everyone knows, of the pandemic, which is extremely challenging for all. And I'll tell you, it's been taxing on all of us, including our Board of Education. But by the way, our Board of Education has tomorrow, they have a study session. It's actually a retreat, but it's really not a retreat. It's here in our district office, and the main topic is safety and the reopening plan. And our board has been hearing from thousands and thousands of families, and everyone has their opinion. And at about a month ago, when we surveyed our community, about 80, I would say probably say 70% of the community wanted to come back, full physical return. They've seen kids at home, and you know, kids are going through mental health issues as well. And you know, we all know that the best instruction is a live instruction, and we want to get there, but we definitely have some challenges in front of us. So once again, thank you, Bobby, and thank you to the business community for all that you do. Before I would like to share a couple of pages of the plan that tomorrow the board is going to review, and then there's going to be some edits. It's a draft because we're going to take their input, and then we hope to message and get this plan out to the community either Thursday night, tomorrow night, or Friday at the latest, because parents are going to have to make some choices, and I'll get into that in a little bit. So with that, let me first, before I hopefully I can share the plan in just a little bit here, but I do want to cover another piece, which is our staff has been working extremely hard reviewing the federal, state, and county guidelines, including also the CIF guidelines, which are for athletics. We've been walking campuses, we've been ordering supplies, we've been training all of our educational leaders here at the district, and developing these plans as we mentioned. And so we know that we need our community to know that we're taking COVID extremely seriously, which we all know it is. And we are doing, at the end of the day, we're doing everything that we possibly can to protect our students and our staff. So we also know that this plan, the implementation and the execution, and quite frankly, the accountability, because our folks, our teachers, our custodians, our support staff, our administrators, they're going to have to abide by this plan, and quite frankly, we're going to have to keep everyone accountable, because again, safety is number one. So if I can, Linda, I'd like to see if I could share a couple of slides. Am I okay? Let's see here. Let's see. Let's see here. Hopefully I can, thought I had this. Give me a second here. Are you guys able to see the plan? Let's see. If somebody.
Yeah, we're working on allowing you to share the screen. Just a moment, please.
Okay.
Can you try again to share your screen, Doctor?
I will. Give me a second.
Linda, I believe we have to stop sharing your screen at that time too.
Okay, I think we're getting there. Can you guys see the plan now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let me say this, and I'm going to try to blow it up as large as I can. This plan right here is, again, the board is going to take a look, and they're going to provide their feedback tomorrow. And Bobby, approximately how much time do I have? Because I want to make sure I leave time for questions.
You know, this is a very, very important topic, and so take as long as you need, but out of respect for everyone else, if you can do a 15-minute, and then we'll answer questions. And then if there's still time and there's things that you need to do, are the slides that you have after tomorrow's meeting, will they be accessible for us to share this with everyone?
After tomorrow night, the idea with working with communications is they'd like to get this out tomorrow night. It's going to depend how many edits we need to do based on board feedback.
Absolutely.
So for sure by Friday, Bobby.
Okay, so if you send it to us on Friday, for everyone on the call, we will send you the slide deck and be able to have that information on Friday. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. So as you can see right here, the cover, I want to point out a couple of things on the cover. So you have our front receptionist. So the expectation is, and what we're doing and what we will do is yes, all employees and students will be required to wear face coverings. I will cover that piece in a little bit. And right now we are mandated by the state of California, and that came into effect about 10 days ago or so. Actually, I think it was last Friday when the governor mandated. Anyhow, it's been within the last 10 days. So as you can see in the bottom, we have our date, and it's we have a date, and it says updated. This is a fluid working document, and I say that because what we believe is a great decision today, next week might not be a great decision, and that's because again things are changing around us, and external things that we cannot control. And we will continue to adjust as we go. And by the way, this plan is also there's parts of the plan that we are with our associations are there's pieces that have to be bargained. The impact and effects on teachers and our support staff or our confidential staff will be bargained. Here, let me go to here we go. Oops, sorry. And here we go. So and I will explain in detail the educational options. By the way, I do want to say this. We are the first district definitely in the Inland Empire, and we are one of the first districts in the state of California. I think we are one of two that has to start in July. We would rather start in August or even September, but because of the large class sizes that we have and the need to run a year-round program in Eastvale, we need to start July 6th, which is next week. And that program will start, and it's 6 schools over there. They're going to start with remote learning. You may also substitute the word distance learning, but remote learning is the more appropriate technical word. So you can see there, we start with 6 schools next week. There's, again, no physical learning at this point. And the idea is that come August the 3rd, those are year-round schools. Come August the 3rd, we will provide our families, after we've been in school for a month, we will provide them one of 2 options: continue with remote learning, and the idea right now is to then have a component of a traditional school setting, and that would again require all the PPEs, and I'll go over that piece in a second. But we also know that that things continue to shift in the community, just like it was mentioned earlier. COVID, we've had the spike right now, and so we need to make sure that we are doing everything that we can to keep our students and teachers safe. So, and I say that because we are also providing all of our families in our district, those who are already, there's a significant, I would probably say about 20%. You don't know till they make a decision, but based on surveys, there's about 20% of our families who'll say, thank you, we love you, but we're not sending our kids back. As long as there's a virus, we are not sending our kids back. So we need a virtual school, or we're going to go elsewhere. We need some sort of an online, and that's what they want, and that's what we're going to provide them. We're going to provide them that option as well. So you can see August 3rd and August 11th. August 11th is where our traditional schools. By that time, we do have all 50 of our schools in some form of instruction, whether it's the traditional instruction, which again is the physical one. And I'll explain that when we say coupled with remote learning, and then the virtual school. By the way, when a family says, I'm going to take the virtual school, which is online, what we're asking them to take it, to at least commit for a trimester if they're elementary, or for a semester if it's secondary, because it's going to be extremely challenging to field, the teachers, the staff, all those things, behind the scenes things that have to be done with 54,000 students and over 5,000 employees. It is complex. So on August 11th, now I say that, so the board has given us that direction, that they traditional school environment, or give the families an option with virtual school. We do know that all of this is also contingent on the Riverside County Public Health Office letting us conduct school, because they could close us down. If the metrics in our community or in the county are not good, there is the possibility that the full physical return does not happen. And when that's the case, that's where we go into the remote learning again. So the idea is to have that flexibility, that those folks that do choose to send their child or children to our school, and they want that physical return, that it's possible that the county can close us down, and in that case, we jump into remote learning as seamless as we can. So those are the options there, and as we mentioned here in the timeline there, and hopefully I described that as we prepare to launch this school year. We know that the remote learning environment for our students that when we have prepared the remote learning environment for our students, but should we need to pivot away from the traditional learning environment due to the COVID-19 conditions. In other words, we may have to do that. So with that, I just want to cover a couple of things, and let's see. What can, with the full physical return, which is that option that I was talking about, how things may look differently. And I'm just going to cover just maybe this slide and a couple of other headings, and then I'll open up for questions.
Okay.
So what we're asking families is we're recommending, and because this is, by the way, all these recommendations and all this plan, it comes from looking at several documents. That's working with the CDC guidelines, working with California Department of Education guidelines, working with the governor's office, working with Riverside County Public Health, and also Riverside County Department of Education. So families are recommended to take temperature checks daily before students go to school. If they have a fever over 104, the students should not go to school. Now, we are working, and I say this is work in progress. This is part of where I say it's a fluid situation. We do have monitors that can check for temperature, but if we were to do that, let's say at a school that's bringing in 800 students, we would spend 3 hours out there trying to check everyone. We are looking, there is technology that can do like kiosks that we can do rapid checks. We are looking into that technology, working with vendors. We hope to have that technology available for our families when we open up. So, but again, we're doing everything that we can. Students and adults are recommended to self-screen. So that means adults as well. Everyone every day needs to self-screen. And if they have the fever that over 100 and 100.4, the adult needs to stay at home as well. Okay. When arriving at school, students and staff members will be required to wear face masks. Parents and visitors will have limited access to the campuses, as you guys could understand. School sites will designate routes for entry and exit in order to limit direct contact with others. In other words, there's going to be signage on with tape and on the floor, letting folks know this is an entry area, and try to have one-way direction throughout the day. That includes hallways as well. We are going to obviously prioritize making sure that remind students and staff about social distancing, hand washing, and the spreading of germs. And again, we are committed, as I said earlier, to provide as much as we physically can and feasibly can. We will do our best to make sure those conditions, again, the conditions are as best as we can do. Is there a risk? Yes, but we're trying to mitigate the risk as best we can for our families. So mobile hand washing, we are looking into stations as well. There is a little bit of a supply chain issue there, but we're working on that. I think I mentioned the mass temperature scanners that can check temperature for folks. We are also looking at student partition. So let's talk about the classroom. In the classroom, if we have a classroom of 30 or 32 or even 36 or even 38, it's not going to be possible to have the 6 feet of social distancing. So you can expect it to be more like 3 feet, right? So in that case, that's why masks are required. Also, another piece is teachers will be supplied, all employees will be supplied, and so will students, with PPE. So they'll be supplied with face masks or face coverings, and also shields as well, because some teachers, especially when they're working with students with severe health issues, they will have to wear both the mask and the shield. By the way, I said earlier that everyone will be required. There is an exception, and the exception is if we're working with a child that has health conditions that do not permit wearing of the face mask. And again, we will work with those. Obviously, if we do have adults that are over 65. So our human resources is working with those folks. And if they have health conditions, we're working with those as well. Ideally, what we like to do is have our teachers that if they have health issues, is have our teachers, again, I say ideally, and that's a negotiated piece, is have our teachers work the virtual program with families who also want that choice. Okay, I'm just gonna go a couple ahead. I've talked about face coverings. I'm not going to go into detail into some of these things, but just so that you know, I've talked about 6 feet of on campus in the classroom. There's just no way around it. We have large schools. Yes, we want spacing as best we can, but students and families, they're going to have to wear the students and staff. We're all going to have to wear the face mask. And again, if parents choose not to do so, well, they're going to have to go the virtual route. Again, we want, like everyone else, we want to make sure that we can find a cure for this as soon as possible. Students will have access to playground equipment during recess, but will be encouraged to maintain social distancing as well. We know that we're going to have to hire extra custodial support as well to continue to disinfect classrooms daily, and also with playground equipment. Our nutritional services will serve lunches. They'll be plated or boxed, and students will eat in designated areas. And also, again, limit that we're not having kids congregate or are crossing on each other. We have some safety considerations for disabilities. One last thing I do want to talk. This goes a little bit more into, and this, by the way, this is what's going to go out to families. What does a traditional school look like with the remote learning? And what does the virtual school look like? What are the components? I don't have time to go over them right now, but I'll be more than happy to answer questions afterwards. Here are the pros and cons, the pros to traditional school. If I can, let's see, I know I'm running out of time. So the pros and cons.
Sam,
okay,
go take some time on this.
Okay, so the pros to the traditional school. Thank you, Bobby. So traditional structure, the learning environment, right? The face-to-face setting allows students to collaborate for the social interaction that's so critical for all of us, quite frankly. It creates good routines for students, and it's a structured learning environment. The cons, they're going to, as we've said, they're going to be required to distance and wear their personal protective equipment. The cons, based on public health guidelines, the program may have to toggle between the face-to-face instruction and the remote learning. And we, by the way, another piece is we have ordered, because we know that whether it's the virtual learning or the remote learning, we have families that are hurting, and we have that need a device. We have ordered thousands and thousands of devices. Quite frankly, it's 15,000 is the number, and we have them ready to go for our families. And we have been checking them out to families over the last 2 months, and that will continue. If we go into the virtual, okay, I didn't finish with the cons for the traditional one, which is if remote learning, students will need parent support. We understand that, and it's something that we're getting better and better at it, but we still have work to do there. Okay, for the virtual school, the pros are that students can work at their own pace. Students can work at any time of the day. The instruction will be tailored to student needs and low safety risk as well. We also have teachers that will be required to check daily with all students, including those in the virtual environment. The cons for the virtual environment are limited interaction with other students, and they need sometimes, or many times, they need parent support. Okay, it requires self-discipline and self-motivation on part of the student. And then the special programs, such as the dual language program, which is a very popular program, the GATE program, we're looking into what we can do to supplement those programs. But as of right now, those programs don't have that's a supplemental piece. Again, we are looking into it. With that, one last thing, which is huge, and again, I can continue to go. Okay, I'm going to mention two last things. The mental health component we know is huge for families, and it has increased. It has tripled during it has tripled the amount of students needing health services has tripled during the pandemic, and much of that is mental health. So as we know, areas such as depression and anxiety, those things are alive and well. And quite frankly, there's a lot of that out there in society. So those things have continued. We have our parent center that will provide training and awareness on COVID and a whole bunch of other things, especially for our families that have language considerations. And lastly, I'm going to mention the athletics piece, and then I'll take questions. The athletics piece, we are working with Riverside County Public Health, and we had hoped to start on July 13th, but as of last Friday, it got closed down. And so right now, we are completely dependent on the metrics for sports to be permitted, but we have a plan in place, and our athletic directors have been working with their coaches, and everyone will be trained as well. And I'm going to pretty much stop there, but I do want to say that families, we're going to provide again this plan for families, and there will be a registration component. We're going to ask all families to register for either the virtual component or the traditional with the remote piece. So with that, Bobby or Linda, I'll answer any questions folks may have.
Dr. Sam, thank you so much. And I just want to clarify, as Linda starts getting everything organized on the questions, there are several of them, but I want to just reiterate to those people, some are on Facebook. The best thing that you can do, we're going to get these slides out to you on Friday, but in order for us to do that, we need you to register. So if you go to our chamber website, even though the event has happened today, if you register through our website today, we will be emailing out these slides. Once the school board has looked at that, that's tomorrow. They will be going through in the evening and adjusting. And then Friday morning, July 3rd is when those slides will be available. Just a side note, our chamber is closed in observance for the Independence Day celebration, but I will make sure that we get these slides and get those out to everyone that has registered on our website. If you've got any questions, you can call us at the Corona Chamber, 951-737-3350. Dr. Sam, thank you so very much. And Linda, could you go ahead and start with question 1? And I think there's about a dozen different questions. Some of them may be repeats. So Linda, go ahead.
Yeah, we do have quite a few questions. So let's start. Has the district considered having students to be in class like 2 days a week, for instance, Monday and Tuesday, and then a different group Thursday and Friday, keeping Wednesday and Saturdays to do full cleanings in between?
Yes, we did consider that, but quite frankly, it is a logistical nightmare. And also the affordability, it would cost in millions and millions of additional dollars that quite frankly, we don't have. I think we all understand that we are dependent on the state budget, and we're very appreciative that the state budget pretty much remains the same going into next year. But it's a logistical nightmare. we again, I can get into more specifics if you like, on a separate call. But that was a very popular choice, by the way, for districts early on, but it's lost a lot of steam. And I do want to say this. A lot of districts around us are waiting for Corona-Norco to put their plan out, because quite frankly, you might see a flyer that they're offering these services, but at the end of the day, the plan is going to be the telling piece if they're going to be able to offer those services or not. And a lot of districts around us are waiting for us to send them this plan. And because, by the way, we're getting a lot of resistance. We understand that, and that's because we're out ahead of it right now.
Right. And Sam, thank you. Next question, Linda.
If the district office remains closed due to the protests, will the retreat still go on?
We are working with law enforcement, in this case, the city of Norco and Riverside County Sheriffs. So yes, the retreat will go on. The location, we would like to do it at the district office, but that final decision will be made later on today in consultation with Riverside County Sheriff Department.
Okay, will traditional students have access to remote learning if they end up missing school because they have a cough? Will band, sports, after school club activities still be carried out?
Yes, they will have access to that. Now, the traditional school and the remote school, that's the same one. If we're looking at virtual, let me address the virtual. I believe it might be related to the virtuals. And let me point this kind of scenario. So I'm a parent and I don't want my son or daughter to be at full physical at the school. However, he or she is in band, I'll use band, and I do want them to continue to participate in band in their home school. Yes, we will provide those options.
Okay, and what about students with intramural sports as an elective?
Yeah, so the intramural program, quite frankly, we haven't gone there, but once we do, and the intramural program, for those of you who may not know, we only run it at the intermediate schools. So once school gets going and once we are at full physical return, then working with our administrators, we will schedule those programs just like any other sport.
Okay, there's a two-part question. Are teachers and staff going to be tested throughout the year? Also, if a student or staff member tests positive, will the school be closed?
Okay, so the plan is to continue to test teachers and students ongoing throughout the year. Hopefully we can find a cure in the next few months, but that is the plan. As long as we're in COVID, we will continue to test folks. What was the last part of that question? I forgot, Linda.
If a student or staff member tests positive, will the school be closed?
Okay, so working with Riverside County Public Health, there's some protocols that need to be followed, and the plan will specifically mention those protocols there, and like what needs to be done as far as disinfecting classrooms and things of that nature. Yeah, eventually, if there's multiple exposures, the county could potentially close a school down. But I want to tell you this, and I'm just going to call it the way I see it. We will do everything. I'm not worried about, we will do everything to protect our students and staff. That I'm 100% confident. My biggest concern, and I'm going to mention it today when I meet with the county, is a lot of our families are participating in outside activities where they're not adhering with the PPEs. So you see the problem? They're going to be possibly bringing those infections to the campus. And it's not the school or the school district, it's actually coming from the outside. So we really do need families and students to please practice, coaches that are out there in the travel ball world, practice the use PPEs. I just leave it at that.
Sam, I'd like to just interject. We're seeing and experiencing the exact same thing that you just mentioned from the business community. Our business owners have gone the extra mile to ensure protocols are in place. the people that go to work on a regular basis, they have the protocols and they do things properly. However, it seems like when they check out from work, go home, whether it's the evening or the weekends, for whatever reason, some people must think that this virus and everything just is at the workplace and then it's not going to be anywhere else. So we're all working towards this, but we're putting a plea out to the entire community to wear the masks, to do the safety protocols so that we can get a handle on this and function. Linda, next question, please, for Sam.
Do we need to, who do we need to contact for the devices for remote classes?
So the address, will be there on the phone number and address and website, and it will be on the plan. So families will be able to register and they'll have their who to contact. It's going to be our IT department.
Next question, can high school sports teams still use the gym?
When we are authorized by the county, yes, absolutely. The gyms have been disinfected, so have locker rooms. The schools are ready to go. They've been working on those pieces, but we need approval. And there are some phases to, there's a phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. And when students first initially start off in phase 1, they're not sharing equipment. It's mostly conditioning, and gradually it will move into, over the course of weeks, it will move into the team sports that there's more interaction and sharing of equipment and balls and stuff like that. Of course, there needs to be also a lot of training that stuff like drinking bottles and stuff, they cannot be shared. And when students first initially start off in phase 1.
Okay, next question. Are the schools going to require entry physical exams or immunizations?
What we normally require, those things don't change. What we normally require, I know that the laws over the last couple of years have continued to change there. So no different than what we've done in the past.
Will parents have the opportunity to know when remote learning will take place if they choose the traditional option? When you say remote, does that mean limited time for a school day?
Yeah, so when I say remote is, should we be closed down as a county or as a city or as a district? The option, it toggles back immediately. The next day, our teachers and our students are in the remote model. But again, same teacher, same students, same curriculum, it continues.
From Facebook, will libraries be open? Will libraries be open?
Eventually they will be, but again, they will also have to adhere to the PPEs and the social distancing as best we can.
Would it be possible to do a few days at school and rest vertical?
I'm assuming that they're referring to the hybrid model. We are not doing the hybrid model.
I think that
2 days on, 2 days off. Yeah, we're not doing that model. Okay, thank you very much for the questions.
Sam,
Again,
thank
thank you for the invitation.
Thank you so much. If you can just stay on for a moment, the slide that is up right now has got Sam's contact information, and we would love for you to outreach to him. Again, I want to reiterate the importance and the transparency that this district has. Sam, I appreciate you coming on and answering the questions. And again, this data is like a snapshot of what is going to be presented tomorrow on July 1st in the evening, what they're calling a retreat. So some of the information that you were exposed to today may be updated, may be changed completely. On July 3rd, we're anticipating to receive a document from the district. We will forward it out to all of you that have registered on our website for this event, and we will be able to send that documentation out. And I'm speaking mainly to those that are on Facebook that may be watching it now or watching it later. please go on and register so that we can get you the slides and the updates.
Hey,
Sam?
Bobby.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
let me clarify. Tomorrow's retreat starts at 8 a.m. and it will be live streamed.
Excellent. But I believe that the document won't be ready until Friday. Is that correct?
Either Thursday night or Friday.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So thank you again so much. I want to thank all the elected officials, all the special speakers and presenters that came on today to do that. I also would like to switch over now to let you know that if you're not currently involved with our chamber, I'm going to be introducing my chairman, incoming chairman, Kim Maybon, who will be taking over in January as the chairman of the board, and her and I are going to rotate back and forth. Kim, welcome, and if you would go ahead and introduce this slide.
Hi, everybody. Just as a reminder to those of you who are not a member yet, please connect with Robert Yanez to become part of the chamber family. We do service a regional landscape. It's not just Corona.
Thank you. The next slide that we have is the Coffee with an Entrepreneur that is coming up on July 13th. It is free for you to register. It is a partnership with the City of Corona and the Corona Chamber of Commerce. And we have the founder and creator of AFE, Advanced Flow Engineering, and that is Nick Neakim. And he is going to be sharing some great words of wisdom. Kim?
Next slide. We want to thank our today's sponsor, Corona History Association, for sponsoring today. If you're interested in sponsoring these calls, please contact Bobby at the chamber.
Thank you. We have the Safer Together campaign. Rob shared this earlier. All the information is on there. Please take the pledge. Let's get this, the town of Corona and Riverside County back in the lowering the curve and reducing it completely. We can do it if we all work together, safer together, greater together. Kim?
Be sure you join us for our next Good Morning Corona meeting where Mayor Jim Steiner will give us a business-specific version of the 2020 State of the City. We will also have a special recognition of the 2020 under 40 young professionals to watch. Mark your calendars for Friday, July 17th. Sponsorships are available.
Excellent. Our next slide that we have, you'll see a lot of logos up here on our Golf Classic that's coming up on August 5th. There is room, and we will create a whole new slide if you want to be part of this. We'd love for you to be a sponsor. We have about 12 spots left at this present time. So again, if you've got questions, please contact linda@mychamber.org. Also, I'd like to just share that we do have some opportunity tickets that are available if you'd like to purchase these. What this will be is as we, for every $500 that we collect, we'll be able to invite a golfer, someone to golf with us who is from the front line. We want to kind of extend on what Mary Barnett brought to us with the flag program. And we want to acknowledge and recognize all those individuals that were on the front line. So those nominations are being accepted, but if you'd like to buy tickets, the raffle tickets that are out there, the pricing's up there. 4 different main prizes that we have. 2 of them are going to be $250 worth of gift cards for different restaurants in town. We have a Fender guitar as well as a large screen TV available. Next.
The Women's Leadership Conference will be Thursday, September 4th. We are planning to do a hybrid event this year. So if you're comfortable, you can come out in person. If not, you can attend via an electronic form. Get your tickets now. It's going to be a great regional event for the entire Riverside County, and the Corona Chamber is hosting this event. Great group of speakers, including a physicians panel that will be sharing tidbits and critical information for every attendee to receive.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And just want to remind you that next week, if you'll go ahead and register now, you'll be able to get all the slides, all the information that we will be sharing on that meeting. But between now and next week, we have our Independence Day. And I just want to wish you a safe Independence Day. Please remember what our fire chief has stated. Fireworks are illegal in Corona. Please have a very safe and enjoyable Independence Day. On behalf of the Corona Chamber, the Board of Directors, and all of our members, thank you for attending today. We are adjourned.